And Brad Keselowski, he was upset. That's him walking over to Matt Kenseth. And Kenseth at the time leading blocking.
Watch this. The two just brake checked the 20 right there. And then here comes Dale Jr. He can't stop. Now he's hot.
Watch, Chris, as they exit turn 2, he's able just to close that door on Keselowski. He didn't run him out of room. He just closed the door. I think Brad didn't really, you're going to have emotions late in the race like this. I don't think he had really a leg to stand on that argument because Matt's leading the race. He's doing all he can do.
Is that Tony behind him?
Hard from that angle to tell which came first.
And then Joe goes down and gets in the quarter panel, the right rear quarter panel of Kevin Harvick. Not of Joe's fault, though. There was nothing he could do, Matt.
And we caught up with Kevin Harvick. Kevin, a lot of frustration boiling over.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Joe Nemechek's supposed to be the guy that never does nothing. Hey, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I'm tired of Joe Nemechek, you know, acting like he doesn't do nothing, and it may not have been his fault, but after Daytona and I should be fired and all that, he can take that and show it where the sun don't shine, baby.
Was hit by Stewart, or whether there was contact that precipitated the spin. But the result, 9 or so cars were pretty badly damaged.
Pretty smart guys. They don't take their helmets off till they get to kind of growling at each other.
Gibbs just pulled it off. Whoops.
Oh, Michael Waltrip is a little upset here at Lake Speed.
Michael Waltrip went over and had words and maybe more with car number 9 at the finish of that one.
Back in the caution period, and you can see what happened. Obviously, Dale,
he was not very smart
about the situation.
Angry with John, with Bobby Hillin.
John,
it's the car that's laps down, an idiot. Drives off into the corner and ran into the side of you. That's all you can say, you know. People just don't use their heads sometimes. You know, if I've been in a wreck and I'm lapped down, I try to give the guys, you know, there's not a lot of room here anyway. Obviously, he doesn't use his head. It's a shame. We had a fast race car, and takes us right out of the points and everything.
You know, yesterday, you know, Kyle's explanation was he had a flat tire and hooked me on the straightaway. So it's kind of one lie after another, and when you hook somebody in the right rear quarter panel, that's the equivalent as throwing your gloves off in hockey. It's, you know, that's the point where everybody's reached the boiling point.
Apparently he's watching too much hockey, but that's what you do in your own time during the week, I guess. You know, to me, you know, I did have a left rear tire flat, and I wasn't sure that if I turned too hard to the right to stay off of him or to get away from him, that the car would actually spin out the wrong way. My car would. So, you know, believe that for what it's worth.
Whether I was right or wrong, they're gonna back me up, and I'll do the same for them. So that's the great part about our team, and you know, the 18 team not backing him up. I mean, when you don't have a backbone, how can you back somebody up?
Apologize to all the kids. You know, I should have not slapped him here. Should have slapped him inside there. Apologize. You know, just my temper got me. Just disappointed because he just ran. You know, the 16 car just ran me out of track. You know.
Back to the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Although some people might think it's a UFC fight.
Carragher also going to get by. Watch Hornaday jump, make it 3 wide here, gets into Carragher, turns him around, much like Chase Elliott turned Ty Dillon around.
We talked about you slow down to 45 miles an hour, somebody's going to get mad. And look how mad Armand is. He tried to go after those guys.
We'll take one other look at how the win happened. That was the 94 of Elliott getting into the 3. So Ty Dillon ends up the last on the lead lap, and he was able to stick his head inside the 94 to talk with Chase Elliott. And now let's hear from Ty Dillon with her. Quite a few that aren't happy. Mike Skeen and Max Pappas definitely not happy.
They've had a couple laps to ride around along with each other, talk to each other, to show their displeasure.
So they tried to talk with helmets on.
He came in the last corner and just drilled us. And not only he put me in the grass, he put me against Ty. It was just a amateur move, and I got really upset with him. I didn't even have the courage of telling me what he had to do. So just I don't have time for guys like that. But overall, it was a great event. Really proud to be here at Mosport. Awesome show, and if you didn't like this, come back again.
14 straight top 10s, and we've seen that before. Max Pappas.
And then Drew Blickensdorfer is the crew chief for David Reagan, and you see him right there beside some of his teammates. He's not happy. Wow.
I didn't want to wreck him. It just, I had to stay on the track, and he didn't give me any room. It just, you know, we both collided. That's the only thing I feel bad about. I'm more upset with Greg Biffle. He's the most unprofessional little scaredy cat I've ever seen in my life. He wouldn't even fight me like a man after. So if someone texts me his address, I'll go see him Wednesday at his house and show him what he really needs. He needs a friggin' whooping, and I'm gonna give it to him. He was flipping me off, giving the finger, totally unprofessional, 2 laps down. I mean, he's a chump. I went over there to go talk to him. He wouldn't even let me get out of the car, and he comes over and throws a few little baby punches, and then when I get out, he runs away and hides behind some big guys, but he won't hide from me long. I'll find him. I won't settle it out in the track. It's not right to wreck cars, but he'll show up at a race with a black eye one of these days. I'll see him somewhere.
Laps down, but is back out and running. You're on board with him here.
The white 8 is slow ahead on the bottom.
That looked about like a replay of what the 28 did to the 42 earlier in the event.
Just in the opposite. This is the one that happened earlier. You see Brennan on the inside, J.J. Yaley in the middle of the straightaway, moves to the left and just turns Brennan into the outside wall. And then we saw just a moment ago what happened. This is really what precipitated. This is that same incident there from the DC Solar onboard.
And then we felt, I mean, that looked uncalled for.
Go. He spins the tires, the one gets into him. Now the 18 thinks he's got room, like Kyle said, because the one car started drifting down. The one car started drifting back up, and Kyle was there.
Yeah, and look, you know, you look at this on face value, and all the people that are Kyle haters out there will say Kyle Busch caused it. He didn't. This is a train reaction. It's like right behind somebody, and they take off.
Oh, Martin, not happy with Kyle Busch.
And he's not happy, but I think when he goes and looks at it, he'll realize exactly what happened. Look.
And I agree with your statement, altering the outcome of this race. And as I suspected there might be, there's Martin Truex Jr. around the 18 of Kyle Busch.
Yeah, Kyle Busch's car is down here in the garage, and Martin Truex Jr. came into his window net. They were having a fairly heated conversation. No blows were thrown.
No, I just wish I could have punched him in the nose instead of the helmet. Harv, settle down, son. Settle down. I know it got ugly last week, but it got really ugly today in the media center. You guys were not holding back. You were going after each other, everything but punches.
Well, he's not going to get in a punching contest because he's scared of that. So it's where I was brought up, you know, if you're going to do stuff like that, you're going to have to get out and defend yourself. So you know how that stuff is.
Hey, you and Kyle Busch, y'all don't like each other, do you?
Not really.
I mean, and that's not fake.
That's not fake.
You're not just saying that because it's Friday night and you want to fight.
No.
You really don't like the guy. But that's kind of interesting to me because didn't you help him last year?
Well, that's the part a lot of people forget. You know, I gave him all the budgets and everything to get his truck team started, and he was still too dumb and he ran it into bankruptcy. So.
Talladega in the spring. That's Brad in the black car. They're racing for the win. Carl said he may have come down just a bit. Brad held his line to keep from going over the yellow line. Ryan Newman gets wrecked, and Edwards flies into the fence. Now today, back at lap 41, watch the 12 on the bottom, the red car just barely gets into Edwards, sending Carl up and into Joey Logano, pretty much ruining both their days. Now both those cars were repaired, came back on track many laps down, but here with just a handful of laps to go, Edwards and Keselowski get together again.
All the flaps came open. The cowl flaps came open below the windshield. The roof flaps came open.
I think that if you just, you know, we didn't know this, had no way of knowing this until these cars started getting airborne like that.
Thought he had the best car all night. Took the inside line on the restart. This is going to be down to the wire. Oh, they touched. He spun out. Carl gets into Keselowski. Carl Edwards will win.
That's it. Checker flag.
Stack up.
Man, you
just hope Keselowski's okay here. That was a hard hit, guys. That was ugly.
Right behind you. Just
that
slow
was
it down.
ugly.
Slow.
Got into Carl, getting on a turn one, race him. They bumped, they rubbed. Typical rubbing racing deal. Carl flipped out like he did at Atlanta and tried to kill the kid. I'm sick and tired of this. I'll get my own damn uniform back on and take care of this. He ain't gonna kill my boy.
That's just not the reality.
I just couldn't let him take the win from me. My guys worked way too hard for that. We had a great restart. My guys built me a great car, and we came to the checker flag. And I hate to see stuff tore up, but we came here to win, and he took it from us there in turn one. And he just went in. He just got in over his head and tried too hard, and it was at my expense. So that was at his expense, and we got our win. But I think he could have got me without hitting me. I think his car was good enough. We could have been side by side across the finish line, and I would have much rather had that. But we got the trophy.
Show him what he really needs. He needs a friggin' whooping, and I'm going to give it to him. He was flipping me off, giving the finger, totally unprofessional. 2 laps down. I mean, he's a chump.